panel of therapists giving relationship advice. We have certified sex therapist Emily Diala, family therapist Mickey Grimlin, and relationship expert Mark Trahan. All right, we have Glenn on the phone this morning. Good morning, Glenn.
Good morning, Miss Lynn.
Lynn, I'm sorry, Lynn. What's your question or comment for our panelist?
Well, we've been together for 16 years, and during that course of 16 years, we haven't progressed. We haven't gained anything. And we don't talk. She doesn't want to talk or communicate about the future with her and I. And I feel she's just staying here with me to benefit herself for convenience.
So out of convenience, are you two married?
No.
And you're wanting to progress. Do you want to progress by getting married or what?
I want to know her goals, what she wants to do. When I try to have a conversation like that, it goes nowhere. Well, she had a baby on me, and I still stayed. But I love her like she's my own daughter. But yet and still...
Yeah, so she had a baby outside of your relationship.
Yes.
Okay.
I give and get nothing in return.
All right, so where does he start with that?
Well, I mean, I think when you over time and you continuously put the needs of other people above your own, over time that will build up your anger and resentment and loss your self-esteem. Yeah. That's kind of the definition of codependency right there.
Right, because you are clearly the caretaker, but she's only allowed to do some of these things if you allow it to happen. And I'm just wondering if you've ever put your foot down and said, look, here's the deal. If we're not going to progress, then we need to part ways. And I'll always be a father figure to that child, but we're going to part ways. And have you actually put your foot down, Lynn, and said to her, is this or that? Oh, he's gone there.
Oh, he's gonna,
I'll bet
I'll bet he's listening, though, because he hung up so he could hear what you were saying.
Yeah, but I mean, am I going down the wrong path? Or?
You're going down the right path, only I can tell you that this man has an addictive trauma background because he's codependent. I mean, you nailed it. So he's really focused on the other person rather than himself. And if you really want help with her, get yourself some help, because you're stuck in a circle of caretaking, and nothing's going to change until you take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, oftentimes when there's problems with trust, and also I hear some problems with commitment there as well, maybe potentially on her end, I often wonder whether or not the relationship is really solid to begin with.
Well, and I
mean, that trust and commitment are really the foundation of a relationship, and if those two things are not there, it makes it very difficult to build much else. So I just wonder about the relationship as a
And
whole.
what does it say about her? Because it sounds like in her mind, no matter what she does, he's always going to be there. And then she has a baby with somebody else, and he's still there.
He's proved to her that that's true.
Yeah.
So that's not on her. Right. He has proved to her that that's true. So he's taught her to believe in what he's complaining about. He's got to make some changes.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we have Amy in our audience, and Amy, remember, this is the rule with the audience. If you're really talking about yourself, you say, I have a friend who, or my brother, long lost, right?
Thanks, Deborah. No, when talking with my girlfriends, when there's issues with sex and in the bedroom, and they talk to their male partners about it, very oftentimes it seems that the men shut down the communication and they're not willing to talk about the issues. And so I just had a question about, well, how do you either continue the conversation, what do you do if they refuse to talk about it?
Yeah, because I think what oftentimes men will hear is, you're not good enough, you know.
That's right.
I mean, I would just start by, explaining to your partner that you think sex and intimacy is a really healthy and integral part of your relationship. And if there are problems there, and if you're able, especially, to talk about other issues in the relationship, why shouldn't you be able to have a conversation about sex? I think we have so many, kind of cultural taboos attached to it, and so people do tend to, kind of shut down around that issue. I will say, though, in my office, in terms of the individuals who come in, far more men than women are coming in to seek counseling, which never kind of ceases to surprise me, but it's the guys
seeking counseling because they don't feel like they're doing their part in communicating, or because their spouse is not?
They're insecure, they're having, issues like around performance anxiety, or, in the relationship. And I will often hear sometimes they have a hard time getting their partner to open up. So I think it really just kind of depends on the relationship, and especially what your background is, with sexuality. Did you come from a family where it was, talked about? Did your parents provide you information and education? If not, you may hold a lot of shame around it, so it can be difficult for some people.
Yeah.
Well, and I would suggest too empathy. You start the conversation with whoever you need to talk to with, hey, I know that this is really hard for you and I know it makes you really uncomfortable. Make it safe for them to talk rather than, hey, listen, I really need to talk to you about something. And then they're like, I don't think so.
Yeah, as you're standing there in your brand new Teddy going, I got all gussied up in this and you have not even noticed.
You've got to make
I'm
it
taking
safe.
it elsewhere if you're not going to use this. But yeah, make it not confrontational.
Right.
And sometimes by maybe not even talking at first, but by doing. And that means not coming to bed in your sweatpants.
Well,
That's
and
not
it's funny, I mean, talking about sex can sometimes be one of the most unsexy conversations that you have. It's because people are really uncomfortable about it. And, you know, the sandwich technique is always a good one. Sandwich it between two things you're really happy with and enjoy.
Oh, I was wondering where you're going with on that. I don't think we've done the sandwich technique before.
That'll be next time.
Okay, you know, y'all were all picturing something going, now how does that work? Okay, let's go to Tamika. Tamika's on the phone. Good morning, Tamika.
Good morning.
What's your question or comment for our panelist?
I had a question. I've been in a relationship for 2.5 years. Within the 2 years that me and the young man was in a relationship, I just found out a week ago that he has a 3-month-old and possibly someone pregnant now. That's 2 months. I have 2 kids myself, but they're not by him. My question is, because my kids have gotten attached to him, and I have too, and we got engaged in February, actually on Valentine's Day. So my question is, what do I do? Because, you know, when you love somebody, you don't want to leave them, but I'm confused.
All right, yeah, this is where love can be confusing, but he's...
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would say that it takes a lot more than love to make a relationship. Just because you love him does not mean that that's the right relationship. I'm not saying it's not, because I don't know you and you just have 3 sentences for us, so we can't really assess that. But what I would say to you is it takes way more than love to make a relationship, and he's already been untruthful to you. Can he be truthful now? Is he willing to get some help for his acting out behaviors?
And how long has he been doing it? The
Right.
2 kids are like, uh-oh,
Well, he has a
got caught.
3-month-old baby,
and a
so this is
2-month-old, she said,
recent.
is on the way. So, or 2-month-old, actually. So it's recent that the babies are here, but since the minute you met, was he ever faithful?
Yeah.
I'm just...
So I just empathize with her because oftentimes when people feel betrayed, they go through this period of a lot of feelings of depression, anxiety, wanting to become a detective to try to figure out all the information about what's happened. And I feel for her and empathize with her because it must be very difficult for her to go through this process, maybe not knowing all the information about what's happened.
And I've been through this
and
before.
jumping to conclusions.
And women, you're right. And I think women kind of treat it differently because the first thing you think is you always think if someone ever did that to me, I'd be walking out that door so fast. But you know what happens is there's a competitive thing in you too. I don't know what it is to try to validate who you are, and you want to see the other woman. And then you also want the other woman to know that, well, you got a baby, but I got him. And you go through with things almost because you're picking the fight with the wrong person, really.
Right.
But there's something about validating yourself that I won, and we have to get away from that.
And I think take a look at yourself. What is it about you that makes you think you deserve to be treated that way? You know, take a look at your own self-esteem and worth, because no one deserves to start a relationship right off the bat with all of that loss of trust.
And their children don't deserve to be in a relationship like that as well. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back and take more of your questions on love and relationships next.